Hi, my name is Chris and this is Battle Nonsense. So yesterday I posted on Twitter that during the next 2 weeks DICE conducts a test on Reddit where they try to find out if they can completely switch from the Battlellog CTE forums over to the Battlefield 4 CTE subreddit. A few of my followers did think that I was joking, but if you visit the link in the description, then you will see that this 2 weeks test is really happening. So if you want to participate in this test and help DICE to find out if they can switch to Reddit, then post your feedback there. Also during the next 2 weeks it seems that the CTE forums on Battlellog won't be monitored by DICE. So if you have something that you want to discuss with the developers, then you might have to do that on Reddit. But why do they even want to move all the CTE discussions from Battlellog, where everyone who owns Battlefield automatically has an account, over to Reddit, where you need to register a separate account? This test actually reminds me of the last time the Battlefield community has been forcefully switched from one forum to another. Those of you who play Battlefield games since before 2011 will know what I am talking about. The EA UK forum, which was home to the more or less official Battlefield forums, where you could find pretty much the entire Battlefield community. There we posted feedback, bug reports, design concepts, and several of the DICE developers and designers were active there too. So for many years this was a really nice place for the Battlefield community. But after the release of Battlefield 3, EA decided to shut down the EA UK forums and forcefully move everyone over to the Battlellog forums. The reason they gave us was plausible. They did want to have all the Battlefield players in one place so that the communication would become easier. Yet those of you who were there at the EA UK forums at that time know which other reasons were in play there as well. But let's get back to the CTE now. Why would DICE want to move away from the CTE forums on Battlellog? First of all, they want more feedback from the community about the game and the changes they are working on. And the activity of players in the CTE has been declining for quite some time now, and I can understand that the developers want to fix that. Also, the forum software used on Battlellog is really bad, and it has not changed much since 2011, despite the promises made by EA to add the missing features that especially those of us miss who were forcefully moved over from the EA UK forums, which was powered by the modern forum software vBulletin 3. So if we look at the current state of the Battlellog forum software, then it's not really a surprise that it is such a chaotic place. The editor does not even support basic functions like embedding images or videos. The spoiler function completely ignores all the BB code that is used inside the text it is hiding. And the text formatting options are in general extremely limited, and this does not help when you try to explain something that is very complex, because you can't put that into a form that is nice to read. But even worse is that we still do not have a proper subscription and notification system in that forum. And this means that most of the time you will not even know if someone quotes your post or if there is any kind of answer in one of the topics that you started or replied to a week ago. The forum also still has the bug where if you reply to a topic that is inside a closed subforum, then you cannot edit your post anymore. You can press the edit button and change the post, but when you press save, it will not save your change. This is extremely frustrating in the CTE forum, where you will frequently revisit a post to make an update with new info. So today the Battlellog forum still does not even have the functionality of vBulletin 2, which was released 14 years ago in 2001. And the promises made by EA since 2011 that they will keep working on the forum and soon add what is considered basic forum functionality was just as false as the promise to soon remove the 100 friends limit in Origin. So if DICE wants to get away from that outdated and flawed forum system we have in Battlellog, then I can't blame them, because it really does not make their job easier. EA should finally consider to replace the Battlellog forum with a modern forum system and stop to try and reinvent the wheel here just to come up with something that is frustrating the players and, as it looks, the developers too. So the forum software is an issue for interacting with the community, but will switching over to Reddit help with that? In my opinion, it is also not that great when it comes to clear structures and formatting of posts, so I don't think that this switch would actually help with that issue. To improve the communication, we actually need a modern forum software. But as I said before, DiceLA wants to get more feedback, and moving over to Reddit will surely give them that. But how much more valid or useful feedback will that be compared to the additional noise that you will get at the same time, which will bury that useful feedback? And how useful is feedback for a change that is currently tested in the CTE, if that feedback comes from people who did not even test this change? The up and down voting system of Reddit is especially problematic here, because we know that up and down voting frequently happens based on the title of the topic, and not based on what is actually written in the topic. So I fully understand why DiceLA wants to try different ways to interact with the community, to get more and better feedback to be able to improve the game. But I do not believe that moving to Reddit will help. In fact, I'm sure that this will make the chaos worse and also increase the noise that buries good feedback, while topics like "give us the M16A3 in the next DLC" will get like 4,000 upvotes. To prevent such from happening, you would need quite some moderators, and that is actually the key aspect that the CTE is missing at the moment. So instead of just moving everything to Reddit and hope that this thing will work on its own, I think that improving the CTE requires several different actions. So first of all, we need more feedback about the game and what is currently worked on in the community test environment. This means that we need to attract more players. So how can we do that? As we've seen in the past, as soon as there was some exclusive content in the CTE, the amount of players that were active there did increase significantly. So we need that exclusive content, as well as other bonuses like the CTE dog tags that you can only find in the CTE, earn by playing in the CTE, or keep getting access to by continuously participating in the CTE. We also need to expand the community test environment to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. I know that DiceLA is working on that, and it's surely a challenge to work out the contracts with Sony and Microsoft so that the developers get self-publishing rights, which means that they do not have to run every CTE build through certification. Then we need a good place to collect the feedback. What DiceLA could consider is to have something like the feature tracker the Arma developers have. This means that if you find a bug or have a feature request, then you can simply create a new issue in the tracker. The form that you have to fill out will help to ensure that all the required info is included, which will make it easier for the managers of the tracker to further process the issue you submitted. And as you can see in the Arma tracker, it is also possible to up and down vote issues, which will help the developers to set their priorities. And we need a place for the discussions. Battlellog is the right location for that, but the current forum software is just useless. The Battlellog team should also start to use the CTE as a playground, and that means that they should test the modern forum software there, which could hopefully also get ported over to the normal Battlellog forums later. So if we scale up the community test environment to get more feedback, then we need people to filter it, because otherwise the developers and designers would have to spend way too much time going through the forums and search for valuable feedback in the posts and comments, while they could use that time to actually work on something. So this means that we need additional managers in the forum. I don't want to use the term moderators because the job of this manager is very different from the one of a normal forum moderator. So these managers read all the topics that get posted, and if they find a topic or a post inside the topic where they think that this is something a developer or a designer should have a look at, then they can simply flag or tag this post, and this will trigger a notification for the user groups of the developers and the designers. And that is something that you can do very easily with the modern forum software by creating a plugin. The developers would then primarily go through their notifications and look at these posts that the managers highlighted for them. Don't get me wrong, the developers would still look at the other topics if they got some time left, but the managers would greatly help them to filter the feedback and ensure that the developers and designers do not miss something that is important. This filtering and collecting of feedback is usually something that I see community managers do in other franchises. But it seems that this is not the case at DICE, so these managers that I am talking about here could be members of the community, who actively participated in the CTE for a while and did prove to DICE that they can help with the process of finding valuable feedback. So let me know in the comments what you think about my idea to improve the community test environment and the test DiceLA is running on Reddit. If you have a Reddit account, then you should also participate in this test and tell DICE there what you think about it. The link to the subreddit is in the description. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a like, subscribe for more, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, have a nice day and take care. My name is Chris and this was Battle Nonsense.